Very much like, like a higher perspective, and it was really cool to be able to hear myself in that voice. My voice is my voice is a lot. My voice is a lot. It's very powerful.
It's very powerful.
And I talk a lot. I talk for a living, and I talk often.
Yeah.
But it was interesting to hear my voice speak in that way, because I was able to hear the same authority that others hear, which was really cool to be able to be like, oh, it's like that when other people are listening to it. It's not that voice of little self that's very like diminutive and belittling and
questioning, right?
Yeah,
like,
and insulting sometimes in that way.
Yeah.
And definitely questioning.
Yeah.
But more just a understanding of like the all that is, and coming from that and being like, well, it's just like this.
Yeah.
That was very cool.
Very like it's wise. It's that the true wisdom that it's carried within you. And that's also like something that a lot of people ask is like, what is the difference between like this and an Akashic record reading, for example?
Which is something that I do.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So you can.
This would be a cool answer.
You can like actually expand also on what I'm going to say, or from this and just having a past life experience. What is the quantum nature of this?
Right.
And the difference is like normally there is the person who's interpreting the information, and then there is the person who's just like going through a past life experience because that's just what it happened, but the understanding of like why there is a past life shown, like really the understanding what was the meaning of that, because something that I say is like somebody could have been like Queen of Egypt and feel like really good about that, or have like a really traumatic experience and not feel very good about that. But what does that have to do with our present reality?
Right.
Which is again orchestrated by higher intelligence and higher consciousness, and bringing that information forward. And the Akashic reading could be the interpretation of the person who's doing the reading. In this case, the person who's doing on the session, it's bringing the interpretation of that reading. So it's the higher self that's basically bringing the information with the language, because we have on our brain language and words that we are accustomed to interpret and recognize the information. So it's said with the words of the same person, with the same language, and it's very easier for the person to actually understand what it's saying.
Right.
And it comes from their own self. So I'm not giving them the reading.
Correct. Exactly. Like in an Akashic record reading, I'm the one who is acting as translator.
Exactly.
But in this, in a quantum healing, there's a whole different removal of anything outside of self. And so you don't need an interpreter. You act as your own interpreter. It's almost like as if you could plug into any particular country, show up there and be like, oh, I know the whole language, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. It's like you plug yourself into the quantum, to the higher intelligence that it is composed of your own being, and like begin to bring sort of like your higher self knows like, okay, this needs to get sorted, this wasn't resolved, this needs to get healed. I know her body perfectly fine. I know how to get everything going, and so it already plans it. Like in advance, it's already planned.